This is ClearPath Retirement Radio. I'm Stewart Smith here with Mitch Davies. We're talking about that big transition that people make from stepping away from a career, something that's been their identity for 30, 40 plus years, and making that transition into a lifestyle where you don't have anywhere to be, you don't have anything you have to do. And for most people, that seems like a really great thing. But for a lot of people, that causes a lot of fear and anxiety. And they have to kind of find a new identity in who they are in retirement. And it's been an interesting case study for the last 2.5 decades for me to watch this process and see what people go through. And I think I have learned a lot. Yeah. And I've learned, the main thing that I've learned is there's 3 things that people are looking for, Mitch. 3 main things they're looking for. They want to make sure that their money that they've worked so hard to accumulate is protected. They want to make sure it's safe. Yeah. They want growth because you have to have growth. It can't just stop, right? Yeah. And they want income.
Yeah.
Fair?
Super fair.
I mean, that's what people want in retirement, and that's what we help people achieve. And we have proven methods that we've used time and time again for 2.5 decades that we've gotten better and better and better at doing for our clients that allow them the freedom to know their money's okay, they're getting the growth they need to at least keep up with inflation and maybe beat it, and they've got the income that they need. And, those things that come up with life, because life happens, and that's the one thing I can tell you is life definitely happens. You wake up one day and realize we need a new roof, right? The roof is damaged and we need a new roof. Or you wake up and the HVAC's gone out and you need a new heat and air system in the house. Or one of the kids comes knocking at the door and they're here to let you know that, they just, their wife just filed for divorce and they're going to need to stay with you for a while until they can get back on their feet. And, oh, by the way, I need to borrow some money to get through this divorce. I promise I'll pay you back. We've seen it all. We have seen all of those things and more. And what you need to be is clear and understanding, can we do this stuff? Can I lend my child money? Can I help them get through this rough spot? Is it going to cause us issues? Is that going to be a problem? These things are just what happens in life, and you've got to know where you stand at all times, and it's never more important than when you're retired and now you're not working for money anymore. Your money's working for you.
That's exactly right, Stuart. We like to say you want to prepare to have life happen for you, not to you, right? You want to be in retirement and life's happening with you, and your plan for all these unforeseen things. And a lot of what we do is spent talking about things that could happen, and sometimes they don't end up happening, right? But we're accounting for everything that could happen. And what we've seen, it's so, it's the most common theme is you're much more aware of these types of things when you're not working, right? A lot of people, gave the kids a little bit of money for this, or spent a little bit for the grandkids on this. You're not as conscious of it because you've got a paycheck. You've been working, you're probably making good money late in your career. But the second it stops, we talk to people all the time who never watch the market, never cared about the stocks, don't know anything about it while they're working. They're just contributing. But the second they retire, all of a sudden they're spending hours a day looking at their accounts, right? And that's what we try to help avoid, is give you that confidence to not have to do that. That's what we don't want to happen, but we see it all the time. So you're never more aware of these unexpected expenses when you're in retirement and you don't have that paycheck coming. So that's why we need to make sure life's happening with you, not to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to talk about it sometimes, how much of a hiking nut I am. And, when I'm not retirement planning, which is my first passion, my second passion is being up on a mountain on a trail somewhere. And, up on the mountain hiking a few years ago out in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, I was, doing a major hike up there, and I just, it dawned on me, and I got to really thinking about how much hiking is like retirement planning.
Yeah.
And we talked about this recently, and like, do more people die climbing Mount Everest or coming back down? And, was really surprised to find out that actually more people die coming back down than actually climbing Mount Everest. And, when you get to really analyzing that, you think about, why is that? Well, it's probably because they are so hyper-focused on getting to the summit and hitting their goal, their life goal, and checking that box, that they've put all their time and energy and everything they had into getting there. And then once they achieve that, they're tired, they get complacent, and they start making mistakes, and they just don't understand they're only halfway there. Right? And coming back down is just as much work as going up, if not more. Because I don't know if you've ever climbed a mountain, but I can tell you that it hurts less climbing than it does coming back down.
That's
right. So what we, to give you that analogy, what I see is we meet tons of people that come into us who are really good at getting up the mountain. They're really good at saving money, investing money, growing their assets, and getting to that summit, so to speak, which is the retirement. But once they kind of get there, they kind of lose focus. And they're like, I did it. I've already done it. And they're only halfway through the voyage. And what happens is they start to get complacent. They start to pay a lot more taxes than they probably should because they don't understand, tax efficiency in retirement. They stay invested the way they did when they were accumulating assets. And I can tell you that investing in retirement is a totally different ballgame than investing when you're accumulating assets and making contributions and getting employer matches and all of that. Right? It's just a totally different deal. You have to really understand how your investment should be, allocated, how they should be set up ahead of time as you go into retirement. You need to make dramatic changes to how you think about investing. And a lot of people just don't do that. No. And they end up taking too much risk, and they don't ever, moderate their risk to be more in line with what it should be in retirement. And they start to make little mistakes like, bringing in too much money to qualify for certain tax breaks that they could be getting, like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act just put into place. Or they go over certain thresholds with money that they don't even need. They didn't even need to be taking, and they just put it in the bank when what they really should have been doing is just leaving it in there, leaving their income lower so that they didn't hit certain thresholds to have to pay higher taxes on their Social Security or, their IRAs as they start to grow, and they didn't understand these Roth conversion strategies and these tax loss harvesting strategies and these real beneficial tax strategies that really work in retirement and really help you to avoid paying way too much in taxes. So they're just not versed in this stuff. They don't understand. Why all of a sudden do I pay more for my Medicare Part B than everybody else does? And I don't understand what happened. What did I do? And it's just, we see it all the time, Mitch. These people don't understand. They're so good at the first part. They're really good at using their gut to make great investments.
That's right.
But in retirement, it doesn't work that way. And they have to learn the hard way. And for me, what I see is why even accumulate all those assets and grow all those assets to the point, if you're just going to be super inefficient in retirement and end up, not getting nearly the benefit you should be getting out of all the money that you've worked so hard and taken all that risk to save, when you just need to understand that retirement planning is a different landscape. And it's a different deal, and there's just a lot going on that you could easily miss things. You can easily make drastic mistakes that cost you big time, and that's what we help people avoid. That's what we do. That's where our expertise lies, in helping you to navigate that landscape and helping you to understand that life has changed. It is a different ball game, and when you change gears and you go into that distribution phase, and now it's time to start using all of those assets you've worked so hard to save to generate an income, it's a different ball game. And you better know what you're doing. And that's what we can help you with at ClearPath. That's what we do. Like I say, we live, eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff. It is what we live for. It is what we are passionate about. And if this stuff is confusing to you, if you don't understand, what I'm saying here, and you want to get real clear and you have questions that you want to ask, please go to clearpathretirement.com. Shoot us a message. Let us know what's on your mind. Let us know, what is it that we've talked about today that isn't sitting right with you, and that you want more information on. Is it tax strategies to help you be more tax efficient, or is it something to do with estate planning and having a trust and those sort of things? We're going to continue this, guys. We'll be right back.